Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. How do I sound? Do I sound okay? Do I sound sick, congested? Listen, I hope you guys are having a great holidays. Thank you so much for being here. Look, everybody's like, I'm excited to be here. We are streaming on two platforms, which is Relatable Reese's platform and mine. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button, please, and thank you. I've also pinned Reese's channel on the chat, so you guys go sub up, get this girl to 20K like today. Let's do it, okay? Because I like what I see, and I think you guys are also, some of you guys are already from that camp. So let's do that. Let's continue to spread the word and get some awareness. All right, guys. Let me bring her up, okay? Look at this. She's gorgeous in red. Yeah, I love it. I don't know. It's like it's your color, girl. It's your color.
Thank you, my rabbit
Oh,
friend. Oh,
hold up. Let me. You disappeared. My
I
bad.
didn't push anything. It was all you, girl. It's all
It was
you.
all me. It was all
Oh,
me.
look
For
at
those
that.
that
We're up
don't,
close.
yes, this is her page, guys. Make sure you go sub up, please, please, and thank you. Go sub up. Go sub up. Okay,
Thank
Reese, you're
you.
almost at 20. We're gonna get you there.
I'm almost at 20 and, I'm excited about it, but I always say subscribe only if you like me. There's some people that don't, my rabbit friend, and I don't want them there because I just want the
What?
people that want to be there. But no, definitely. It would be cool to get to 20 by the end of the year for my
Who wouldn't like
anniversary.
you though? I don't understand. Who doesn't like you? Help me understand that. What do you mean
Uh,
by that?
My mother always said, "Not everybody's gonna like you, Reese." I mean, you've said enough, a little bit of my content. It's not for everybody, and I've tried to tone it down a little bit because I don't wanna overdo it and upset people, but, we're just, I'm 39, it's probably not gonna change much.
Oh my God, I feel you on that. I think we're in the same age group, by the
Are
way.
we?
Believe it or not. Yes, we are.
I thought you were a
Um,
lot younger than me, I don't know about that.
I still get carded, which is amazing.
Blink twice if you were born in the '80s, because I don't think you were.
Yes, I was. And I'm gonna blink and
Really?
I'm gonna nod. I was born in the 80s. I'm a
You
millennial
did a little
child.
bit of both.
I did both because I can't do one without the other.
I saw that.
I don't know why.
You look like you're in your 20s, so good for
Oh,
you.
it's just, well, that's good.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. Reese, one of the videos that I want to reference a little bit, and I totally advise everybody to watch, is the one called Double Agent, and it's like literally pinned on your page. How Scientology found me out. Um,
Mhm.
that was a couple months ago, correct?
The act that video was, almost 1 year ago next week,
What?
right?
So you literally have been found out about a year ago?
I was doxxed. I was found out a year ago by accident with Aaron, and then I started my channel around August 1st. So I've only had a channel for about 4 months, but yes,
Oh my,
that's about a year old, that video.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And following that, though, and it was an accidental dox. It wasn't like Aaron was like, I'm going to, like, you were an
Oh, no.
informant. Is that what your role was, or what was your role?
Well, I mean, if you wanna be cool about it and make me sound like Leonardo DiCaprio in The Departed, yeah, I guess I was an informant, but not as cool as him. I was, under the radar, and I had seen the Netflix show. Have you watched that, by the way?
Yes,
It's
I
pretty
have.
intense, yeah.
It is.
And I grew up and I was born into Scientology, so, it was hard for me to watch that show. I watched the show, and then I thought, "How am I going to navigate life now that I've seen this and know that it's happening to other people?" I truly thought I was the only one that Scientology kind of messed up and made some mistakes with. And then I reached out to the Aftermath Foundation to get some help because you can't reach out to your Scientology family, right? I mean, you can't be like, "Hey, I saw this. What do I do? Is this true? Is this happening?" You can't do that. So I reached out to the Aftermath, and Aaron called me back, and I immediately loved him. Who doesn't love Aaron? And we talked for about 6 months under the radar, and he was just kinda guiding me, helping me, and
Mhm.
I was kind of a mess. It was hard to fake it and talk to my Scientology family and friends and know that I gotta get out of this somehow. And then on New Year's Eve, he was doing a live on his channel, and apparently, I guess he, like, did this and flashed my name up by accident, one of my text messages,
Yeah.
and it was like a quarter of a second, but it was done. And I never spoke to my family again. It was over. After that, I lost hundreds of people. So it was pretty wild. And that was only a year ago. I mean, it's coming up on a year ago, New Year's Eve.
With that being said, though, your son also lost contact with family, right? Because they disconnected with you and son.
Yep, my son. My son has just turned 14 and we were both, but I would say he was even more close to his grandparents than I was. But I was very close to these people, and had a very strong relationship. Actually, probably my son grew up more with his grandparents than with me. They took him all the time. I don't know if you know this, and I don't know why you would know this, but like we just had our first Thanksgiving together, my son and I. In 14 years, I've never had a Thanksgiving with him because they took him every year. So, and that's not making them look bad. That makes me look bad, right? Like I shouldn't have allowed that. But we're starting now and with what we have. And so we just had our very first Thanksgiving together. So it's all new. And it's been a lot of really good things have come out of it, Rabbit. I mean, I have made friends for the first time that are legitimate. You know, I didn't know what friendships really were because everything in my life has been conditional. And I didn't know that until I got out, right? Like I didn't see it that way when I was in Scientology. So that's been quite a transition.
I see it, I don't want to be like totally weird or anything, but I see your eyes and I could see this like sincerity out of you. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, I could feel it. And we're like in two separate worlds, right? Well, two separate states or something at the very least. But there is a level of like, I could feel your sincerity through
Thank you. Wow. That's
here.
quite a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Don't be. I don't know how often you come to my channel, but we cry all the time over there. So we get
Yeah.
very emotional and laugh. And the sincerity probably comes from the fact that, I mean, there's nowhere else for me to go. I'm starting my life over and I'm having to unlearn everything. See, sometimes I talk about this stuff and it's like, I never thought about that before till just now. It makes me a little sad, honestly. There's just I try to be as happy as possible, but there are so many things that I still in my daily life go, "Oh, wait, I don't think like that anymore." You know, I have to kinda, like, toss that to the side and out of my head because that's how I thought for 38 years. And so, the sincerity, I guess I would say, is I don't, I'm just kind of learning who I am now, and I'm sharing it with the world, and I don't know what else to do. It's very therapeutic. I don't know about you with your YouTube channel, but these people are more than just people to me now. All these people have supported me, love me. I know them privately behind the scenes. Um, they mean everything to me. That's kind of how
You're,
I've gotten through, I think.
wow. You're going into therapy. You're in therapy, correct?
Just an
How?
hour and a half ago, just left. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How's that going for you? Do you feel like it's, definitely meeting your needs or
100%. I and you know, I don't know how much you know about Scientology. I assume you know quite a bit, but
especially coming from an organization that's like evil therapy,
anti-therapy,
psychotherapy.
girl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm like, how's that working?
anti-therapy. It is so life-changing between therapy and my YouTube channel, which I consider also therapy, has helped me so much. But I will say I'd never been in therapy and I had to go through a few therapists to find somebody that I felt like I clicked with. I can't just I mean, I don't know how that works with everybody else in therapy, but I definitely was like, you know, my first person wouldn't even respond. Like I was just doing all the talking and it was just very, like I was like, yeah, no, I need some feedback. I can't just sit here and, you know, watch your face change. So it took me 3 or 4 of them to go through. And I found actually a man, which is surprising. I don't click so much with like male doctors. I don't have any of those. I won't even get a pedicure by a guy. I don't know why. It's just, I don't really want to confide in or be touched by or anything like that. I trust
Yeah,
women
no,
more.
for sure, for
And
sure.
so it's a guy and he's fantastic. And every time I go, I just leave there and I usually am in tears for a little bit on the drive home and reflect and thank everybody and everything on my drive. It's like a 30-minute drive, so it's really kind of nice to decompress and think about everything we just talked about and go, thank you. Thank you. Thank you that I I love to learn about myself now and like who I really am and what I was suppressing in the church. There were so many things that I would get in trouble for all the time for kind of being myself. And so it's so freeing. I definitely feel like I was released from a cage. It's very freeing. And it's hard at the same time. It feels good and it feels bad. It's hard having a kid that, I feel like I kind of struggle and then I have to put on my mom hat and, really
Yeah.
not show that so much because I know he's struggling and I have to be there for him. But he's actually doing better than I am, to be honest, Rabbit. He did a live with me the other night and we don't talk about it a lot. And people were asking him in the chat and he said they made their decision to cut us loose. And he said, I just think about the people who still love me and stayed in my life. And he was like, I channel it through sports. And I was like, wow, he's always been an old soul. So he's kind of my support more than I'm being his.
Oh, man. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Is there anything that you miss? I hate this, like, you left, but is there anything that you miss? Or is there aspects of it that you're just like, I wish this was something that, was still here, or whether it's people or something about it?
So not necessarily about Scientology, but like maybe the
Maybe the
relationship.
people,
Yeah.
the
Um,
relationships?
I don't miss the teachings because the teachings were always the hardest part for me. I can remember being like 4 years old and my dad forcing me to sit down and train and learn things. And I remember always thinking like, this doesn't feel right. A lot of this doesn't feel right to me. Um, so I don't miss that, but definitely the relationships. I love people and I love having relationships with people. It's just my thing. I thrive on that. So I think the overnight losing and being shut out entirely as if we just died. I mean, it was like a death. There was no goodbyes. I was just deleted, blocked on every platform and text messaging, and I couldn't even reach out to them if I wanted to. I was thinking about that, and I think a goodbye would have really been nice for me. It would have kind of felt more healing, a little bit of closure.
Mhm.
Some people disagree with that and think maybe it's better that it went this way, but I miss them because whether they loved me conditionally or not, that's all I knew for my whole life. So I still think about, yeah, I still think about those people, especially this time of year, the holidays. And I just still, Rabbit, I still sometimes wake up or I'll not be sleeping. I'll just be throughout the day cleaning or something. And I'll go, that really happened, didn't it? Like that really happened. This is real. I mean, as much as good has come from this, I think, how do you just unlove somebody overnight? How do you just flip a switch and act as if we were never in your life? All the memories, everything we've built, that was for nothing. I mean, I have so many good memories with my family, and I just think they're gone. They're just gone. Nobody said anything to us. And that part I miss. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hard for me because I have some really good memories with them.
I feel like, and maybe this is just me thinking out loud, like I feel so selfish, right? Because, you know, I have the family, right? That I could make, I could leave the Catholic Church today and it's not going to be the same. And I just don't understand how well, I do, it's a cult. Um, the ability to just shut the people that you are with down, especially during the holidays. And like you said, it's like a sudden death. I know what that feels like to have somebody just die.
Yeah.
But to know that these people that, raised you, or maybe you grew up with or you had a relationship with, are still out there and there is no closure to that.
Yeah.
During this time, it's just, I'm sorry. Like I don't even, I can't compare because it's selfish of me to say I know exactly what you feel when I don't, other than I've had people die suddenly.
Well, definitely, I hear you and I agree with you other than the selfish part. Don't feel selfish. I find
I just
myself
like,
doing
oh
that.
my God.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
find myself doing that. It's like, everybody has something and nobody's story or situation is less than anyone else's.
Mm,
It is what it is and you can't really compare because I find myself comparing all the time. And I feel bad. I will feel bad going on my channel and talking about this and then I get a private message from someone that's like, we have no money, my husband died, I lost a child, and then I think, gosh, I feel awful. What I've been through is nothing. And the truth is you just can't do that. It's not healthy to do that, I don't think.
yeah. It's
But
not.
it's hard with all these people, especially in the same city I'm in. I worry about that all the time. We go out and about, we do stuff, and I think, what is going to happen if I run into one of these people? That's the hard part too, is it is like a death, but they're not dead. And I think what will happen? I mean, I'm sure I'll just immediately start crying. And I hope that doesn't happen. I hope I don't run into anybody. But there's so many of them. There's a church 20 minutes from my house, and I've been active in that church my whole life. So, and I don't avoid the area. I'm not going to not live because I have to tiptoe around that. I mean, it's still a lot to navigate, Rabbit. It really is. Like there's even just talking to you, because I don't usually talk to people I don't know. I'm usually, doing stuff with Sterling or Aaron or Tommy. And I kind of enjoy doing this kind of an interview because it forces me to think. It makes me kind of push my limits. And I don't know. There's still so many things that I don't know that I haven't thought about. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you asking me.
Ooh,
But I
why?
definitely miss my family.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Reese. My
Oh, thanks,
goodness.
Gal.
Sorry. Side note, like I said, you look great in red. Red is your color.
Thanks.
I think you should wear it more often. That is like your signature color, girl.
My
You really
God.
should.
Thank you.
I love
Thank you
it.
so much. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna do it more. I'm gonna have to get some more red. I
Get
like
some
to
more red.
shop, so I'll go find some.
No worries. Going back a little bit though to that video that you did with Aaron though. And you kind of disclosed, and I was a little like, there have been crimes committed on you by some of these
Yes.
people in Scientology.
Yes.
What have you done anything to kind of file police reports? Where are you at with that? I'm kind of wondering because you were a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah, I haven't filed police reports, but I did hire a law firm, after that, and they didn't recommend doing that. So, I would have, but nobody it was a team of attorneys, and nobody said to go do that. I think they took about quite a few months, 4 or 5 months maybe, going through everything, all the audios I had, all of the, evidence that I had, and one of the attorneys called me and she was in tears and she said, "We're just outside of the statute of limitations," but she was like, "It's really a shame because you actually have tons of evidence. Like, this isn't like this happened to me, but I can't prove it." She said, "You have all the proof." Um, so I don't think police reports were necessary because I mean, maybe I should do that, but no one gave me that advice. So, um, and the thing is, I still struggle with that because I don't my current husband now, I told him this story, the whole background story of when I was 13 and joining staff and sleeping with a 24-year-old man at the time, and I I still thought of him as a good person, and I still do, Rabbit, I really do, but Jeff, my husband, was like, "That's totally R," you know? And I was like, "No, it isn't." And he said, "Oh, yes, that's definitely child R." And I said, I don't know if you can say that on YouTube, so I never say it, I don't know.
You
And,
can.
oh, you can?
Yeah,
Oh, I
you
don't
can. I
wanna
mean, you
demonetize
might
you.
get to. Yeah, I know, but
Yeah,
you. It's up to you. Up to you.
that's okay. Everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say
Yeah.
R, so we'll just leave it at that. And I said, "No, it's not, Jeff." And I said, "I consented. It wasn't against my will." And he said, "You can't consent at 13. You can't consent at 14." And I didn't even know that. I never thought of it that way, and this was 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, my whole life, I've just thought that was just a boyfriend that I had when I was 13 years old. So I don't And I've said this on Andrew Gold. I don't want to hold that guy accountable. I really don't. He was good to me. He took me to the hospital. I don't know who else would have taken me to the hospital. I mean, he was a good person. I've talked to him since. He reached out to me after that video that you're talking about. I don't think I've ever told anybody that. He reached out to Aaron and he reached out to me. And we talked for a couple of different times on the phone, and he apologized to me. He's not in Scientology anymore, and he just said, I'm so sorry. And I believe him, and he's married with kids now. Why would I want to blow that up? I mean, that's not something I want to do to another person. He didn't have bad intentions, but it was a bad situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm like sinking it in when you're hearing you say this. But there are still crimes out there that are, against children in that organization.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
happen to be a victim of one of them?
Yeah, Dan O'Connor. I don't know if you know. Well, you watched the video, you said? Did
I
you?
watched
Okay,
it.
so the guy that put me on the ground with a fax machine, and then that's when I was peeing blood and went to the hospital. Him, definitely. I would like to see pay for that. I mean, that wasn't a mistake, and he really did some damage, and I don't know. It's just such a weird thing to go back and think about even now. I just think, what would I have done different? Sometimes I find myself blaming myself and I'm like, why didn't I kind of go over it and I'm like, why didn't I do anything? Why didn't I even try? But even to this day, I've never used violence as a solution. So I mean, even if
Yeah.
it happened today, I don't know that I'd start swinging. I don't even know how to punch a person. I mean, do you put your thumb in or out? I don't know. I guess I'd have to watch some Steven Seagal movies.
I don't think it's something
I
that
need to
you just
watch
plan.
Roadhouse.
No. Not Steven Seagal movies.
um Yeah, I do find myself doing that though. I just think, why didn't I act? Why didn't I do anything about that? And why did I come back and be his friend for years after that? He was my friend till last year. I just gave Dan O'Connor a huge hug at a funeral last year, 2 years ago. So, I get mad at myself about things like that. I don't know if you do that. Like, do you ever feel yourself regretting, like, why did I do that? Like, that wasn't my style. It's not my character. Why didn't
You
I
think,
do
like,
something?
looking back to, kind of like, should I have done something a little bit different? But the way I kind of see it, and this is just as an outsider, right? It's comfortable to justify the things that, seem need to be justified, right? Like what you just said right now, I was 13, he was 24. I'm leaving that alone. That's absolutely fine. People might feel a little bit different about it. How have you consolidated with that? Is completely up to you, you being the victim of that. Although you may not see yourself as that, but other people will tell you otherwise. How does Reese consolidate with that? For me, it just, I've been friends with people that have victimized me and not necessarily knowing that I've been victimized until maybe after. And then you think about it and then you kind of rationalize it. Um, but you also have to, like, childhood trauma, and somebody said it in the comments, there is no, um, it's so complex, right?
And it shapes
People,
who we are
it
as we
shapes who
grow.
you are, but it's so complex that even when you're an adult, you kind of have to wonder, well, why do I do the things that I've done in my past?
All day long, girl. All day long. That's why I love therapy, because I really am a thinker like that. I have been told that by everybody I know. You overthink things like hardcore. I mean, I just find myself being like, when do you make time to overthink and panic about reality? Does anybody else do that? Because I do it all the time. I mean, I just am like, why do I do the things I do? And I'm sure I do it too much. But Rabbit, the truth is, I have a kid, and now I see more than ever how important everything I do as an example and everything I say directly to him. And I'm shaping who he's going to be in many ways. I'm not going to be fully responsible for it, but I definitely influence him. And um, I think that that is why now, like, I feel so more than ever protective of my child. But I also think that I seek protection now more than ever. Like, I crave it, I want it, I want to feel safe, and I don't, just not environmentally, not like physically. I just mean like I'm looking for that feeling of, and I keep looking for it externally, like just that feeling of I want to feel whole and safe, and so I really try to provide that for Huxley, my son. And I think he needs that now more than ever, and there's so much to this. You're right. I mean, I go back and I think about those things, and I try not to, because I think, gosh, what would it have been like to go to school, like high school? What would it have been like to have like a prom or a regular
Mhm.
dad that took pictures of me and like, maybe went, I don't know, do they have like dances and stuff with your dad? I don't know. I see that stuff in movies, but it would have been cool to have that support
Mhm.
system. And so
Mhm.
I just try to, in the now, be there for him as much as I can without, swallowing him and consuming him and making him feel like, mom, it's too much.
Yeah.
But it's a fine line. And I'm desperately holding on to him right now while he and I are so close. We've bonded. We are so much closer now that I'm out of Scientology, because I
Yeah.
just didn't get a chance to really be with him very much. They
Wow.
tear families apart when this sort of things happen. You know what I mean? Like, now we're totally disconnected, right? So family's been torn apart. But they also do it when you're under the umbrella of Scientology in many ways, like being on staff, you don't ever see your kids. Being a public like I was, but doing 12 hours a day of auditing and training, you don't ever see, it's just not a priority. So it's many ways. I just realized that they kind of divide and separate you whether you're in or out. Just one is more permanent than the
It's
other.
a different type of familial trauma, right? Because it's like I think of like, people that have been separated either by CPS or they've been separated by like adoptions or whatever it may be. But this is a little bit different because it's like, your family is there, and then there's like this machine that you're just trying to kind of work through. In most
Yeah.
institutions, and I don't call that a religious institutions, but most institutions, the foundation that they build is upon the family. But here it's like the opposite.
Yes.
It's the cult.
Yes.
So it's just so mind-boggling and dangerous because it's with our family where we find identity, with your loved ones. And and I was when I was watching the video with you and Aaron in that double agent, kind of question too, like I wonder what your relationship with, I'm assuming it's non-existent at this point, with your dad,
Oh
because
yeah, it's totally, he cut me
oh
off when
my
I was
god.
16. So yeah, no. I saw him again in 2018 at the ideal opening of the grand ideal opening of the org here. They got a new building and did a big ribbon cutting, and David Miscavige was there, and my dad showed up for that, and I had not seen him in forever, and it was so, like, I'm having a hard time talking about it now. It was so emotional for me to see my dad in the same vicinity, and so many thoughts were going through my head, and I just so badly, like, I had to fight it off. Like, I hate this person, don't feel those feelings, but I so badly, like, just wanted to go up and just like grab him, and just
Oh
go,
my god.
like,
It
I
reminds
haven't
me.
seen you in so long. Do you want to know about me? Like, are you interested in me? Are you excited to see me as much as I am right now to see you? But he never acknowledged me. He didn't say hello. I was there for 4 hours, and it was the same. I didn't exist. He didn't even make eye contact.
It Did you see that video with Lara FM when her dad?
Yes, I did. And I really cried through that because her emotions were my emotions for sure. I felt exactly what she was going through. And it's hard because I didn't watch the whole video. So I don't know if her dad is a good person. My dad is not a good person. So I can't speak for her dad, but like, that's what I mean. It was hard for me to fight those emotions off because it was like I wanted it to be a Hallmark movie. I wanted to run up and hug him, and I wanted him to hold me and just say, like, I've missed you. And I wanted it in my head. I was kind of pretending like we were torn apart by other circumstances, but he really missed me and wanted to see me. But it wasn't that. And just the shunning in person was so much harder. And at that time, my husband had passed away. And I remember just sitting there. My dad was right behind me. And when he was walking around near me, I just kept thinking, and I do this a lot in struggling situations, but I just kept thinking, like, he's just with me, Fred's with me, like, just really just acknowledge and like feel the embrace of my husband, because he showered me with love. And I thought, just kind of hold on to that right now. That's all I could do. It was really hard for me to exist with him in the same area. And to this day, I really can't watch a lot of movies and TV that have like a dad that dotes on his daughter and just loves his daughter, because I'm like, I always wanted that kind of dad. I really wanted it. I think it's so special when a dad loves his daughter a lot. And it's just a beautiful thing to me. I always wanted to experience that. So that could be why, Rabbit, that I'm into old men. I don't know if you know that. I'm into old dudes.
No,
So
I did not know that. Well, that just took it somewhere else. Oh,
it took a dark turn, but we were turning dark anyway. Yeah, no,
yes.
I mean, I'm sure that has something to do with it. I crave that attention and probably approval from old men, I'm sure. And I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
safe around old men.
It's wow. So, yeah, I mean, I've heard that as well, that depending on the father presence, and what that looks like, can really be telling of the kind of men that you pick in your life, right?
Yes. And I think I still search for it. I know that it's irrational and makes no sense, but I think that's why to this day I still flirt with old men. And I like, if an older man gives me attention, I just melt into a puddle. I love it. It just means everything to me. I search for that, and I need to stop doing that and be enough for myself, because I
Yeah.
constantly am craving that attention, that need for someone to honestly want me. Like I feel so rejected by those people that I think I just eat up the attention of thank you for, like, it means everything when someone's like, I love you, Reese. Like it's that's why I love this channel, because I'm getting consumed with what I've been needing my whole life. And that sounds silly.
But you're so insightful that you're able to call it out, right? So then the responsibility becomes, well, okay, I'm calling this out. Am I wanting that man for the right reasons, or is it because he's feeding me this attention that I have been seeking all my life, right? So now
100%.
you
It's
can
never the right
challenge yourself.
reasons.
Right, right. So you have to challenge yourself,
I
right?
do. I do. And therapy helps me with that so much,
Good.
because it reels me back in, and I kind of get to put the picture up and see it, but it's never for the right reasons. And I don't ever take it far enough to find out anyway. Right. But I mean, I just see now more than ever that I'm craving whatever I'm missing from those days. And I don't know if we'll ever fill it.
It's like a void.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure other people have to struggle with this, right? I mean, there's got to be other people out there that had some sort of a childhood that wasn't fulfilling, and you're now an adult trying to kind of, and maybe I have a hard time because I'm not a therapist, and I always kind of say this, I don't like, Rabbit, I don't know about you, but like sometimes I don't like digging and going back and going, when I was 6 this, and maybe that's why I do what I do now. It's like, yeah, who really cares? Let's actually just fix it now and go forward. I don't really need the significance of, is that why? Like, because this happened with my mother? And it's like, yeah, it doesn't really matter because it happened. And sometimes I want to rush through and just heal too. I find myself doing that. I'm like, okay, let's just get to the healing part. I don't want to deal with that part. Like, it's hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to give myself a little grace, because also it's been a year.
Yeah.
It's just been a year.
My goodness. But I think that that's the amazing part, though, is that you're calling it out and you're vulnerable. I mean, these are things that people wouldn't talk about, but you do. So I'm like, I love it, because what you see is what you get, right? And I think that that is something to admire, that not only is it your story, but there's probably other people that can relate to that. And you might find other people that can hold you accountable to it too,
Thank you.
right?
I agree. And you know why also I keep going with it? Because sometimes
Hmm.
it is hard to share all of that. Yes and no. I don't really have any boundaries. And I think that comes from Scientology. But
Hmm.
I think what really I find therapeutic is I will share something like I just did with you, and I'll get 100 messages from someone privately going, you just made me realize this and now I'm crying, but it helped me so much and I'm healing with you because of this. And it just that just to me is what matters in the whole world.
Hmm.
Nothing else really matters to me. That the fact that somebody in Australia right now is realizing and getting better and healing over a video I just did, I'll sleep better tonight. Like that's really all I need to know.
It's awesome.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh
And I
my
get those messages all the time. So that's why I just think we are going to keep going. A lot of people say, congratulations on your channel. And it's like, no, no, this is our channel for sure. We built this. These people
God.
helped me do that. I didn't get to where I am without them. And it goes both ways. I love these people.
Yeah, and then in the matter of time that it took you to build that that many people that support you is amazing. Because clearly what that says is that people relate to you, which is
I'm
what your
shocked
channel
still.
is.
I'm really shocked. I mean, it's been 4 months and I hit 18,000 last night. And I would have never thought it would get past maybe 500 to 1,000. And I
Yeah,
would have been okay with that. But the fact that it just keeps growing makes me feel stronger all the time too. I just think you're right. Like you just said, it's got to mean something. It has to be
it has to.
relatable to some of these people
It
that we
has
talk
to.
about these things, and some of it is uncomfortable. And some of
Yeah.
them tune out when it gets uncomfortable. And I understand that. I don't always talk about heavy stuff, you know. Sometimes it gets real silly, to be honest.
I was looking at some of your merch on the quotes. Let my phone just died, but one of them was it let them? Let them?
Uh-huh.
What does that mean? What does it mean
You
to let
know,
them?
it's just something that I worked with in therapy.
Okay.
It was it kind of started with the gap rabbit, and my therapist went over this with me, and it was just
Okay.
a matter of in Scientology especially. Now you realize non-Scientologists have this also, but in Scientology you are expected and trained for life to be in control of your environment. And your
Mhm.
environment consists of matter, energy, space, time. It's called MEST. And so you are expected to be controlling. Oh, see, I haven't even looked at this stuff. Jeff,
I
my
was
husband, does most of it.
okay.
That's
I was like,
cool.
let them. No, I thought it was
And
so
Keela.
cool. And
Yeah.
what is Gila? So what are these? Because they're quotes that are very quotable. So I'm like, I love like fuck off
Oh,
into the
yeah. Into the
forever.
forever. I don't know where I got that. I just started saying it and I say it a lot and they seem to like it. Um, but it really applies to all those Scientologists. I really do hope that they fuck right off into the foreverness and they never come back. So I think we just out of moments of rage have come up with those quotes and just silly
Yeah,
times. But the let them is just constantly being in Scientology, you're fighting, controlling everything. And if something goes wrong in your environment, it's a reflection on you. So if you get
yeah,
sick, if other people get upset, immediately in Scientology it is, well, what did you do to cause that? That's my whole upbringing is anything bad, anything that you can or can't control, they expect you to be able to control. So learning in therapy to just let them has been incredibly powerful for me because meaning just you can't control these things. I mean, that's been a real stressful time. I feel like I've been just sweating through that my whole life of, oh my God, like playing hopscotch. Like I have to control this. I have to control that. Otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. It's been a beautiful unraveling for me to go, I can't control that. And I don't need to control that anymore. That's not something I'm going to get in trouble I couldn't balance everything in my environment. So
yeah,
it's part of just saying like, let it happen. Let people show you who they are. And just allow it. And if you can't control it, it goes into this nice space called the gap. Just put it in the gap. You can't control it. There's nothing you can do about it. And that has been very, very especially powerful for me to learn that I don't have to juggle all these balls anymore. I don't have to control that. I'm
Yeah.
not going to get in trouble for it. So yeah, that's been pretty special.
Let them. I love it. I don't know why that stood out to me. What do you think? So like I saw the live yesterday that you did with Erin on the phone call, right?
Yeah.
How does let them fit into that? Because I'm an outsider to a lot of what is going on, but what, you're recording some of these calls and you're releasing some of these calls. I'm kind of wondering kind of where your mind is at with all
I'm
that, and
not
if you
there
want to give
yet.
some context. You're not there yet?
I'm not ready to follow my own advice on that yet.
Okay.
I am really struggling. I really struggled with that call in particular yesterday. I think
Can
I
you give
was
us a little bit of just like a little bit of an idea of what the
sure.
call is so people that haven't
So
watched it?
when I first was speaking with Aaron, I have an Apple Watch. I'm wearing it today, and I would hit record on my Apple Watch when I would talk to Scientologists, and I would talk to them on the phone on speaker while it's recording. And I didn't do that with any intentions of ever sharing any of those audio recordings. I did
Mhm.
that for my own therapeutic reasons because I was starting to feel very gaslighted. Aaron was helping me, and I thought, I'm going to record this stuff so I can kind of go back and unpack a little bit, listen to it, see what I said wrong. Kind of like I told you, I overthink everything. So
Mhm.
it makes sense that I would do something like that. And then I would go back and listen and basically go, what did I say that I could have said? Or, so I recorded a bunch of calls with my mother in law in particular, and she was the most close to me in my whole Scientology world. And so I was recording calls with her, and I just shared some of the recordings yesterday. And it was hard because she was saying in those calls, like, we will always love you. I'm not going anywhere. She was like, I always will consider you my daughter. I love you. You're my daughter. And so that was particularly hard for me yesterday, just going, where are these people now? And it's good, Rabbit, because it's good for the world to see. It's good for the non-Scientologists. None of that's going to be shocking to Surge in the chat right now or Lara FM, because we know how these people work. But
Mhm.
for the rest of you, I'm basically pulling back a curtain so you can see how Scientologists really talk and how they
Yeah.
really act, because you'd never see that in the real world. You see what you see on their commercials, and come find out for yourself. And they're selling it, but they don't act that way, especially in the non-Scientology world. So it was a good thing to expose, but it was at the same time painful for me to listen to that, because it really exposes that there is a disconnection policy, and they do have to completely close a door on you without, you know, even a thought. I mean, it's just total mind control.
It was almost like a role that she was playing. It was like I was thinking of it kind of like, well, you can open up to her even though she's in it, but you can open up to her as if she's not scoping to see what she can get out of you, or uh uh
Yeah,
even the language that she was using. I said, this is such an it's just not an authentic conversation of somebody who you've known for several years, the way in
yeah,
which she spoke to you. And I'm an outside, I'm a never in, okay?
right.
So I'm in that
Yes.
group with Tommy and them, right? And we're just like, wow, that
Yeah. It's a different language for sure. That wasn't really showing too much, but they really do have their own words and lingo that you kind of switch over to. And that's what I was explaining. That was one of the hardest things when I did reach out to the Aftermath Foundation, because I was feeling so much pressure going to the org, talking to all the Scientologists, flipping. You really do flip to a different language when you're a Scientologist. And I just thought, this is so hard for me. I told my husband, I was like, I would go meet with some Scientologists, or talk to, my mother-in-law, and I'd get off the phone and I'd be like, this is too hard for me. I can't, now that I've seen the light and I know the truth, I can't keep playing and pretending. It was really hard. So that's why I called Aaron, and Aaron helped me for those 6 months, walking me through and kind of keeping tabs on me. And so that was, Aaron has saved me in so many ways. Even before he doxed me, he helped me. He held my hand through all of that. But it's some serious mind control, and I still find myself being a little stuck in it. Like I said, I still find myself going, don't think like that. Like the lingo will pop into my head, or I still, if I something happens to me, I immediately think, what did I do to pull that in? Like it's just an automatic thing that And I have to go, nothing, because you didn't pull that in. Don't even think like that anymore. That's not how it works. But 30 plus years of that way, it's kind of hard in a year to unlearn. But I'm working on it every day.
And I know it's a thing because I've heard of the word, and I think that there's like a person that promotes like deprogramming. Is that something that, like, is there such a thing as deprogramming from something that you've known all your life?
I think. I mean, I haven't read the book yet. The Stephen Hassan or Hassan or however you say it. Do you know what I'm talking?
There was a Netflix documentary about it too, but this was like they weren't really talking about Scientology. It was like other cults and stuff. But
Okay.
I've always been very curious about like,
I mean, how do you deprogram?
how do you
Other than you,
deprogram?
it's to me, it's like well, I was just gonna say it's like going to the gym, although I can't speak to that. I'm not all about fitness and I never will be, but it's like working out. If I knew what working out was, I've seen it on TV enough, right? I kind of know what it is. If you were like lifting weights and weight strength training, to me, that's what it is. Deprogramming. It's like I have to actively think about it and work. It's hard because I literally have to do that in my own head. I'm like, don't think like that anymore. Like it's
Yeah.
working that out. It's trying to separate this is good, this is bad. That's the only way I know how to do it, plus therapy. And like I said, I don't know how I would have done it without all of my people on YouTube. They have
Right.
helped lift me up so much and sort things out for me. These people are
What
amazing.
Yeah, but one thing I've always wondered too, it's like how what is it that everybody's trying to save? You know? Like when they're on that side and I'm
Planet
listening to
Earth.
this, yeah, planet Earth. Okay. Isn't
This
that
is
everybody?
like there's some other place to go.
Are
This
you
is the
taking it with you when you die? I guess I'm just confused as to what is, I mean, listen, I don't know.
it is. This is considered a prison planet in Scientology. This
Oh,
is the dumping planet, the prison planet. So
oh,
we're
geez.
trying to save everybody to get back off of this planet. And it sounds crazy saying it here, but it doesn't sound crazy when you were born into that for decades. I mean, it
And that
sounds
is all you
nuts.
know.
Yeah, it was all I knew. So we were dumped here, and I was dumped here in an ice cube. I'm sure you may or may not have heard that, but we were dumped here, and some of us were dumped here in ice and floating in the ocean. And I was told that when I was very little. And that may or may not have a lot to do with my fear of the ocean, Rabbit. Stay tuned. I don't know. We're still unpacking that, girl.
Oh,
But I'm not taking a cruise with you, so don't ask. But we can go to a resort. We can go to a resort. I like to lay on the beach. I love getting a tan and
that is
collecting
on my
shells.
bucket list. I'd love to take.
Yeah.
I've never taken a cruise, but I guess you won't be doing one.
Well, I know that you were going to ask me, so I thought I would just put it out there.
You just read my mind. Oh
That was the
God.
whole point of the show. I know you were going to ask me about this Caribbean cruise, and I was going to have to
Yes.
let you down. So
Yeah, y'all can go home now.
it's done.
It's done.
I
Oh
do
my
love
God.
the beach. I love to collect shells, but I'm not getting in. Not going to do it. I was there for too long. Spent a lot of
Yeah.
time out there. Lost a lot of people out there in the ocean.
And you say it with such seriousness that I'm like, I don't know what to say now to pivot out of that.
Yeah. That's probably also why I don't have any friends. I've heard that my whole life. People are like, I don't know when to take you seriously. Are you being serious right now? The guy I'm married to does that. He's like, was that supposed to be a joke? I can't read you.
Well, no, it was funny because you said, yes, was it yes? No, it was in the other video. Said, well, the time that Aaron ruined my life by doxing me. It was just like, oh,
Somebody said that. He put it up in a comment.
yes.
She said, like, no offense, but that time Aaron ruined my life. He feels bad about it. And I told him yesterday, I'm like, I really don't do that to rub it in. It's just a huge part of the story, right? Like
Yes, it
for
is.
me, that's the day my life started. And he doesn't seem to understand that. He takes it personally and he feels bad. And I'm like, you don't get it. That was the milestone. That was
It
the
was a
day it
pivotal
all,
moment.
yeah, whether or not, I mean, I can't say it enough. He saved my life. He saved my child's life. So it's like, Aaron, you freed us. Don't feel
Yeah.
bad about it. But he's still a little sad, and I understand. But we're gonna work through that. We're gonna do a little therapy with Aaron in the new year. He doesn't know it yet. We're gonna unpack some things.
As long as it's not on a cruise ship, you guys will be fine.
We're not taking a cruise together. No, we're not.
No,
We're not doing it. I know he's gonna
Do you-
want to. Mm-mm.
Okay, so take me back a little bit to the time that you first started releasing information to Aaron, did you like know then that you wanted to leave Scientology?
Oh
Or like
yeah.
what even led you to like say I'm going to DM or send emails to Aaron? How did this happen?
Well, when I watched that show, and it took me
The
years to finally
aftermath.
watch it. Yeah, it
That's
took me
right.
years to finally watch it, and I finally did, and I watched it for 3 days, and I just cried and cried because, again, I resonated with something on every episode. I was shocked. I thought for sure when I put that on, I thought, "I'm gonna hear a bunch of sad little boohoo victim stories of poor me," and that was what was going through my mind, it was like, "Oh, good, like, we can find Catholicism, Judaism, we can find any religion where somebody is disgruntled, and they're gonna talk about a sad story, how they were wronged," and that's what was I just thought, that I don't wanna hear it.
Hmm.
And I watched it, and it was the opposite. I mean, it was just I just couldn't stop crying. I just was like, "Oh my god, that happened to me. That happened to me. That also happened to me." I just couldn't believe it. I didn't think I would be able to relate to any of it, and that's all I could do was relate to it. So, after about 3 days of crying, I spent probably a week or 2 in bed. I just was like my husband was like, "What are we gonna do with you?" Like, I said, "I don't know. I'm just really depressed." And again, it felt like I had seen too much. Like, once I saw and got to that point, I was like, this is bad. I thought truly Scientology was life-saving, and they just messed up with me. Like my dad leaving me and the Dan O'Connor story. I thought that doesn't happen to anybody else. Everybody else
Hmm.
succeeds. I'm the only one that didn't succeed. I just didn't make it because I'm out ethics or something. Um, so I thought, what can I do? Who can I talk to? I can't talk to anybody. And my sister actually said, why don't you reach out to the aftermath? That's what it's for, right? And so I did. And Aaron and I talked for about an hour and a half on the phone, and I said, I want to get out. I just want out. I felt like I just was like pacing in a cage. I was like, I want out. I don't want to do I just want away from this. And he said, "Well, let's not blow everything up. You'll lose your family for one, and you know that. You know the stakes." And he kind of talked me off the ledge. And he was like, "Why don't I help you? Let's just kind of walk through this for the next however long period of time." And he said, maybe we can save some people. Maybe we can get them out, but like, he was like, just give me information, tell me what you know. And maybe we can kind of try to help make this into a good thing. And
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
was beautiful. I mean, Aaron really did do a great job there. And then it was just an accident that day. And clearly they were watching him though, right? Because he went back and edited it, and he told me I didn't get to see it. Everybody in this chat, most people are like, "Oh, I was there. I saw it." He just flashed it so fast.
People are saying that in the chat. They said that they said, but this is like the age of like screen snaps and screen
It
records and
is. Well, and Aaron said, he goes, obviously OSA, who's like the legal part of Scientology. What
Mhm.
does OSA stand for? I'm going blank. Office of Special Affairs. So he said they were obviously recording it, and they could just go back and pause or whatever. So, and I'm sure they do. He's huge. Aaron is big enough that they would probably keep a close eye on him. I don't have as much of that going on, I don't think. I had PIs following me
Oh
um,
my God.
for a while, and they would sit in front of my house, but I don't see them as much anymore. And I only when I do see them, they're in restaurants. They come in and sit by us.
But why? Why do that? Like, I guess is that supposed to be like intimidating? I know I saw like some of the scenes. I think it was Going Clear when they were doing like the gang stalking and I'm
Uh-huh.
just always wondering like, wait a minute, all of this just to leave them? Why?
Well, and I'm not a threat, especially. So it's like, why me? I just went through every step of the way of my pap smear a couple weeks ago on YouTube. So it's like, what are you gonna find out that's so secret? Everybody knows everything. And I mean everything about my unmentionables, rabbit, everything. You may not want to tune in as often as you
Listen,
think. But
she's been doxxed. She's exposed her pap. What the hell y'all want for this girl?
yeah, yeah. I, seriously, I put it all out there. So I think that's probably why they've kind of backed off. They're like, we're not going to spend any more money on this. She's talking about her yearly well women's exam here. So,
I got a cough. You
so
can't get more vulnerable than that.
yeah,
No.
waste more time on more important people that know things. I'm not gonna. And that's why, honestly, my channel, I say this, we go into the weeds, we talk about everything because I can't focus on Scientology every day. I can't talk
Yeah.
about that. It would depress me. I
Yeah.
mean, And I don't think anybody minds. My husband sometimes is like, just don't forget that's what your channel is supposed to be about. And I'm like, actually, it's not. That's why I call it Relatable Reese. I didn't call it something like growing up in Scientology because I knew I didn't want to talk about Scientology all the time. That's not the focus.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to relate to people and whatever that means. We
Yeah,
go
and I don't
wherever
feel
that
like I
means.
get that. Like, I think that is, I'm glad that you called it that because it's a way in which someone who is never in can understand, like, oh, okay, so say that I meet somebody else, whether it's Scientology or a different cult, right? And they want to get out. Wow, let me go hit up Reese and see if she understands, like, what would she advise, I don't know, somebody in this cult or
Yes.
that cult, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Definitely. And I want that kind of connection with people too. And Aaron said something so sweet to me on the phone the other day. He said, I love out of all the SPTV channels, he said, I love that yours is kind of focused on healing. And I never thought of it kind of in that simple term. And I thought, he's so right. That's whether we're talking about Scientology or, losses or anything, it's about healing. That's what we talk about. And silly things in life and just things that are relatable that we can all kind of go, oh yeah, I've experienced that too. I get that. We
Wow.
go wherever. I love not having a topic. I do best not having a topic because then I just get to chat with my chat.
And you're just talking. In your
Yeah.
opinion, what is the SPTV community? And I know Aaron has done his spiel, but what is, I mean, the more and more talk about different topics and what is it to you?
It's hard to ask me that because I don't really I say this all the time, Rabbit, and I don't know this about you, but I really don't watch YouTube much. I do my channel and then I turn I flip the computer down. I don't spend I have my child and I just don't want to spend hours and hours watching other things. And
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I get a little drained doing a channel.
Yeah.
Like especially if we're crying a lot or I'm kind of like I'm ready to step away from this for the day and go do my cleaning, go cook, do whatever I'm going to do. Um, so to me, that was a long answer. I'm sorry. To me, SPTV is just, I think it's a group of really good people that anybody and everybody can go look at any of the channels and see that a suppressive person, by definition in Scientology, is someone who is similar to Hitler. I just read that in the ethics book out loud the other day with Aaron. He says that we are basically Hitler and destructive, and all we want is just world destruction. I think SPTV is a really good way of going to look at that and go,
Yeah.
these are real people. They're funny people. They're good-hearted people, and they have families, and they love you. And we're not Hitlers.
Yeah. They get
So
pap smears. I mean it.
they get all they get the ins and outs checked, and we get our test results back, and
That's
thank God it
right.
was normal. Uh, we don't have HPV, and I'm really happy to hear that because that's like 1 in 3, girl. There's a lot of us that have that, so I'm
Yes,
really happy.
truly.
Um, but it's just a mixture of all over the map of our lives, and somehow it brings us together at the same time, woven in that fabric. But it's to see that we are just all in all, we're just like you. It's like I want people to know that the other side, where the SPs are, we're just like you.
Yeah.
We're no different.
Wow. Do you mind if I read some of these super chats for you?
Yeah, I'd love for you to.
Yes. Ann says, gotta catch you on the replay, ladies. Love you both. V. McWilliams, relatable Reese is honestly raw. Love you, Reese.
I love V. Thank you.
Bo
I
Beat says,
love
I had a
Bo.
dream last night that your dad's ruin of jealousy was used on you and him, and that is why they told him you were entertaining men. Thoughts? Do you want to answer that?
I had a dream last night that your dad's ruin of jealousy was used on him, and that is why they told. I don't know that I understand that very well, Bo. Like, what would
It
my
was a dream?
yeah, she had a dream, but see, so I got in trouble at the org when I was 16. They put a non-interpolation order on me because I was entertaining the men of the org, and
Hmm.
that's not what happened. I talked about that in that very first video.
Yes,
But
I
what's
saw
the
that.
jealousy mean? What does she mean by I had a dream last night that your dad's ruin of jealousy? I don't know that I understand Do
Bo, if you
you?
want to clarify, I don't understand
Yeah, I
it.
feel bad because I don't like her to super chat. She doesn't
No,
need to be
we'll
doing
keep an
that.
eye on her comment.
Yeah. Sorry,
It says,
Bo.
we
We
love
can
you,
break it down
Reese.
later too. Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you.
Watching you help me see areas where I'm still undoing the Mormon programming 35 years out. You're doing amazing. Thank you. See other cults?
Yes. Thank you, Kathy. See, that's what I love, Rabbit. I love seeing comments like that.
Other cults. Tampa says, if this hadn't happened to you, I would have, I would have had you as my best friend, and you wouldn't have all fallen in love with you. Oh,
I love her so much. I've met her on my channel. I didn't know her before this. So that's what I mean, Rabbit. These people mean so much to me. It's very real, and I don't know where I'd be without them.
yeah. I mean, it's amazing the people that you've touched, and it's just, and it keeps happening, right? Like,
Yeah. I hope we keep growing. Honestly, I hope that there's so many more of us that group together. But if we don't, and this is where it ends, and that's okay too. I want it to be organic, but I love helping people and they help me. So it's just a perfect circle, really.
yeah. It truly, and it's amazing. I think for me, it's just watching everybody kind of get together and really being a support to each other, knowing that, oh, hold up, knowing that that everybody's here for each other. I think that's really like touching. We don't know each other on a personal level, but I'm like, man, I could totally go and hang out with some of these people if we were in the
Totally.
same state. You know what I'm saying?
100%. It's connection. I feel connected to you guys so much.
Yeah, and I love it. I don't know. I see you as an authentic person. I think that that's aside from the stuff that you've been through. I mean, just being able to chat
Thank
about
you.
anything is amazing. Molly says, "So glad I found you, Rabbit." Via Aaron found Reese the same way. Rabbit, you have an awesome interview skills. And so, oh well, thank you, Reese. You are an amazing woman.
Thank you.
Receipts
And she
read.
does.
Oh, thank you. Receipts Reese. TKU for all you keep exposing.
Thank you,
Surge is
Serge. He's
I
amazing too.
yes, yes. And we got to get him in. And I'm like for me, I've watched what I have seen so far. I'm like, oh my god, I just wow,
He's been through a lot.
yeah, absolutely. And everybody I think has a different story to tell, in different situation. But I think one thing for Surge, and it just resonates with me, is that there's still a lot of children there, and there's still a lot of people that need to do right by those children that have
Yeah,
left, and I couldn't agree with him more.
totally.
You know?
Oh, and I love that that's what he fights for the most. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Everybody has a passion and somehow we're all tied together. But Serge is very passionate. He's a good person.
Yes. She says, Reese, you are my friend. We talk almost every day, and you truly make a difference in my life and the lives of others. I love this community, and tell them I love you every time you are here.
I love that, Keela. Thank you. She's amazing. I love her. She's the one who's
Yeah.
been doing all the merch. She's amazing.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Do you feel like people, I mean, and it's interesting because people have come together to really try to, whether it's the merch or promoting of the channel. I also heard that you have a Facebook group as well. Is it
Yes.
specific for your members on your channel, or how do people get into the group?
One of my mods can post a link for it, but it's just a group where we all get together and I post in that group when I'm going to go live. It's got Keela, how many members now? Like 1,600 or
Yeah.
more. It's just a fun place where people can kind of be the way they are in the chat, but outside of the lives, they can share private things, and it's just a very open, safe place. And
Oh,
it has
okay.
really grown, but no, it's for anybody. It doesn't have, I mean,
Okay.
anybody. The only thing is, and they will tell you, they'd yell at me if I didn't say this. There's four, there, Kathy Ann just posted it. There's four questions that they have come up with that you have to answer to get in. Just like I think that's any Facebook group. Like I think it's like, where did you first find Reese? What's your YouTube name? Are you here sent by OSA? Which who's going to answer yes to that?
Who's gonna admit to it?
Yes, I am
Yeah.
David Miscavige. Yes. Um, but it just, you have to answer the questions or they won't let you in the group. So that's all.
Okay.
Just make sure if you guys, I would love, the more the merrier. Anybody's welcome. It's a really good place to be, but just make sure you answer the questions. That's all.
Gotcha. Tara says, "We love you, Reese. Tell Rabbit about your dad giving you the journal, please. It's horrible."
Oh yeah, sure. If we have a second.
Yes.
I when I was ever since I was born, thank you, Peace Lady. I love Peace Lady. She painted that painting for me. Ugh, right there.
Oh, that's
Some
beautiful.
hearts. Yeah, she's
That
amazing.
is
See, it's how
beautiful.
it matches her picture. Like it's
Yes.
similar. Yeah. My dad had 3 daughters, so I have 2 sisters, and I'm the youngest, and he only wrote well, whoops. My cat has been laying on this, so there's cat hair all over it, but he wrote Rabbit in this baby book. And he wrote since the day I was born in the book, and I used to love that book. It's huge, as you could see. And when I was little, I would run down and I would dive into his lap and I would say, "Write about me, write about me." And it was always at bedtime. And he would say, "Okay, but you have to go to bed and then I'll start writing your story." And I'd say, "Yeah, write my story, Dad." And he wrote for years up until I was on staff about me. And um, when he disconnected from me and left me at the church that day, I went to Omaha. I blew, which means an allowed leave. I left and went back home to Omaha, and I started doing drugs. I started doing meth with my older sister, and a couple of months had gone by, and there was a death in the family. And he had called and said, "There's a death in the family. You're going to have to go to this funeral." And it's in Kansas City, and I was in Omaha, and this was the first time I'd talked to him, and he was very cold with me on the phone. And he said, "I'm going to have you ride with your sister and I'll have you guys follow me to the funeral in Kansas City." And I said, "Okay." So he came to where I was staying to meet my sister and I came outside and he pulled up and I was just terrified to see him. You know, again, it was like that day that I saw him a few years ago. I was so like hoping that he was going to change his mind and hug me or say, "This was all a misunderstanding. I love you no matter what. I'm your father." But that wasn't the case. And he rolled his window down and I said, "Hi, Dad." And I was, again, hopeful that he was going to say something kind.
Hmm.
And he handed me this book through the window and he said, "I won't ever need this again." And it was horrible. And it was very final. I knew at that moment what that meant, that I'm done with your story and I'm not interested in the rest of it. And that was it. So at least I have the book now, and I've been reading it a little bit at a time, and, it's hard because there are some parts in that book when I was born and how much he really talks about how much he likes me, and that's hard for me. But I don't ever wanna hear from that man again. I mean, I don't hope for that anymore, Rabbit. I'm not sitting here by my phone going, "I hope he changes his mind." I never wanna hear from the only thing I really hope to hear is that somebody through the grapevine says, "Hey, did you hear your dad died?" I mean, honestly, that would be the most therapeutic thing for me to know that it's over. I don't ever wanna know anything about him or hear from him. If he called me today and said, "Hey, let's talk," I would not have any interest in. He's done so much damage, and I don't wanna know anything he would have to say at this point, but that was very hard for me when he handed me that book.
Reese, what about, so is he just not, is it just you or the other siblings that he's just like,
He hasn't spoken to any of us ever. I mean, it's been decades. Yeah.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's wild because he's so highly, looked at in Scientology. I mean, he's given millions of dollars. He's been in Scientology, I think since, like, 1971. Everybody knows who he is. That was where I really had a struggle in Scientology when he did
Mhm.
drop me because I was like, "Why are we all Scientologists and nobody is identifying with this elephant in the room? Like, I don't have my dad anymore. Like, why isn't anybody helping me with that?" Again, I could see if they were like, "Reese, he's not a Scientologist. There's nothing we can do. We don't know the guy." That's different, but he was so well known. Why was that allowed?
Yeah, yeah. That's just. Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know,
he's
Reese.
he's
I hope
horrible.
he regrets it. I'm just like that is my hope, is that he regrets
I don't think I
everything.
love that for you. I love that
I
journey
know.
for you, girl.
I'm like,
But I
I
don't think
just
that's
hope
the
that he
case.
regrets it. That he's like, I messed up, but that's just the hope
He
that I
will take
have.
his last breath hating me. He thinks I am Hitler. He thinks I'm totally evil. I promise you he's not regretting anything. I'm sure he wishes he would get a phone call that I died, honestly. That's probably his wish.
Oh my God.
And that's something that I live with, and, you know, I don't know. I don't know anything about his life currently, but I really think he's an evil man, and I don't think he ever had the love to give in the first place. That's why I crave that and I look for it externally, but it's like you're looking for something that never existed anyway to begin with.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't have it to give to begin with. He should have never been a father.
Snake said, just because, my friend.
I love Ken. Thank you, Snake. Thank you for that. It means a lot.
And it's amazing though, with all that, you still have so many people like love you, Reese. That
Yeah, this is what I mean. I mean, it's super chat, not super chat, private message, anything, cards, people just it's an
paintings.
outpouring, paintings, anything. It doesn't have to be in the form of anything, just words. I love it and I appreciate it
Yeah.
so much.
Hearing you both laugh has made my day. Thank you.
I love
Is it
her.
Gypsy Soul?
Gypsy soul, yeah.
I'm
Love
not
her.
crying. Oh my goodness. Anything else, Reese, before I let you go, that you want to tell me? Do you have any questions for me? I mean, like, I
Um,
want to thank you for your time. Like,
I was gonna say the same. I actually really click with you. I like you a lot. I hope this isn't the end. I hope that
no,
you and I can do something again because I think if we lived in the same city, we'd be real friends. I like
hell
you a lot.
yes.
I don't know anything about you. I don't even know your real name, but I'm kind of liking just calling you Rabbit.
You can just call me Rabbit.
Little rascally rabbit. It's cute and I like
I
it.
know. Thank you. Well, I
Um,
appreciate it. Causing the
yeah,
chaos.
I like that too. I do a lot of that. You know
Oh
it.
my gosh.
But no, I
Oh.
don't. I don't think there's anything else. And I want to say thank you for your time. I was shocked. I don't know if you saw that I answered you at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah, and
Um,
so did I. I was like, yay! Clearly, we're not sleeping when we're supposed to be sleeping.
it's hard to sleep these days because there's so many
Yeah.
messages coming in, and I love talking to people. But I do find myself going self care, Reese. You need to sleep. You know, you need to eat. Like I need to keep these things going. But I love talking to people. And so when I saw your email, I was like, oh my gosh, no way. I was like, look, a celebrity reached out to me.
Oh, hell no. No. Totally not. No.
I thought it was so cool. I was like, I'd love to. So seriously, I really enjoyed this and thank you for having me on. And I hope it's
Thank
not
you.
the end. I hope in
No.
the new year we do stuff. Maybe we
Yes.
could do stuff. I don't know if you do stuff with others like more than one person, but it would be fun to do something with Aaron or Sterling too.
Yes.
And
I
also
would
Mike
love it.
Brown. I don't know if you know who that is, but I'm going to start
Who?
doing some content. Mike Brown, he
I
grew up
don't
in the
know.
Sea Org with Sterling. He's a
Oh,
really cool guy and I'm going to get to know him. I haven't done anything one-on-one yet, but I plan to. So
I would
it would be
love
fun.
to. Yes.
Yeah.
Susie says, you are the parent he could never be. That I do agree with. And
That's so
another
nice.
Susie said, just got here, so happy to see you both. Love you, Reese. Happy
Oh, I love
surprise to
her.
find you. Oh,
Thank you,
it's
babe. I
amazing.
love her. And guys, a lot of my people are on here, and maybe you already follow her, but definitely follow your channel, Rabbit, for sure.
Thank you. Yes, you guys, make sure you check out Reese. She's almost at, let's get her at 20K. How many more days till the end of the year?
We have like a
Like,
week, but you know, it can be done. I had
I
2,000
think it can.
people come to me in like about a week's time. So it can be done, guys. But again, do it for the right reasons. If my
Yes.
face or voice annoys you, please don't hit that subscribe button. We don't want to force anything.
Or
Yeah,
do we? Or do we?
we
Or
might.
do we? We
We
might,
might.
Oh my gosh. Reese, thank you so much.
Yes.
I don't have anything else for you. Do you want to hang out a little bit before I'll end this and then
Yeah.
we can chat
Yeah.
a little bit?
Definitely.
All right, guys, you guys make sure you check out Reese. And I will see you guys on the next one. Let me hit the ending here. You guys have a great day. Bye.